William Hayes floated in the cramped space of his one-person exploration vessel, eyes fixed on the radar display. Something was out there at the edge of the solar system, something that shouldn't be there. The year was 2157, and humanity had expanded their reach to Mars and the moons of Jupiter, but the outer darkness still held mysteries. "Houston, I'm picking up an object that doesn't match any known profile," William said into his comm. "Roughly cylindrical, about 20 meters long. It's not moving like natural space debris." Static crackled before a voice replied. "Copy that. Explorer 1. Can you get visual confirmation?" William adjusted his ship's trajectory, burning precious fuel to intercept the mystery object. After 3 hours of careful maneuvering, he finally saw it through his viewport. The object gleamed with a metallic silver sheen that no asteroid possessed. Its surface was smooth and perfect, with strange patterns etched across its hull that seemed to shift when he wasn't looking directly at them. "Houston, I can confirm. This is not natural. We are looking at something artificial. I think we just found proof we're not alone." The news spread across Earth like wildfire. Within days, a larger mission was launched to retrieve the alien probe. Scientists Alan Porter and Susan Millard led the team tasked with studying the object, now housed in a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. "The patterns aren't decorative," Susan said, pointing to the shifting symbols on the probe's surface. "They're data. Massive amounts of data encoded in a way we've never seen before." Alan nodded, his eyes red from lack of sleep. "The quantum computer is making progress. Look at this." On his screen, alien symbols were slowly transforming into English words. "Greetings from the Galactic Empire. Your world has been identified as housing intelligent life. We welcome potential new members to our interstellar community." For 6 months, Susan and Alan worked to decode the full message. Each breakthrough revealed more about this Galactic Empire, a coalition of 27 advanced alien species spread across thousands of star systems. In a meeting with world leaders, Susan presented their findings. The message contains star maps, cultural information, and technological guides that seem designed to help us advance quickly. "Like a welcome package," said the American president. "Yes," Alan replied, his voice hesitant. "But there's something else we found buried deeper in the code. References to resource extraction and planetary assessment that weren't meant for us to see." The room fell silent. "What does that mean?" asked the Chinese premier. Susan pulled up another screen. "We think they've been watching us for some time. The message includes details about Earth's composition, our oceans, our atmosphere, things they couldn't know without extensive study. Are they friendly or not?" demanded the Russian president. Alan shrugged. "They're coming. According to the probe's data, they dispatched ships to our solar system the moment the probe confirmed intelligent life. They'll arrive in about 5 years." In the days that followed, humanity faced its new reality. They were not alone in the universe, but the neighbors might not have the best intentions. Governments worldwide began pooling resources and knowledge. The United Nations Space Agency became the central organization for preparing for first contact. William Hayes, the astronaut who first discovered the probe, was called to a private meeting with General Patricia Davis of the newly formed United Earth Defense. "We need people who understand space," she told him. "And more importantly, we need people who can think creatively if these aliens turn out to be hostile." William looked at the pictures of the alien probe. "What do you want me to do?" "Help us get ready," Patricia said. "Because in 5 years, everything changes." As night fell across Earth, millions looked up at the stars with new eyes, wondering what was coming toward them through the darkness of space. Humanity stood at the threshold of its greatest challenge, unaware that the Galactic Empire had severely underestimated the species they were about to meet. 5 years passed in a blur of preparation. Nations built underground shelters, expanded their militaries, and accelerated technological development. The day finally arrived when Earth's long-range sensors detected the Imperial ships entering the solar system. They were massive beyond imagination. The lead vessel alone was larger than Manhattan, its hull shimmering with an otherworldly metal that seemed to bend light around it. 7 smaller ships followed in perfect formation as they approached Earth. General Patricia Davis stood in the United Earth Defense Headquarters beneath Mount Cheyenne, watching the live feed from orbital cameras. "They're slowing down," said a technician, "taking up positions around Earth." "Any weapons signatures?" Patricia asked. "None that we can detect, but their technology is far beyond ours." Gregory Mason, Earth's chosen diplomat, straightened his tie nervously. At 53, with silver-streaked hair and steady hands, he had been selected for his calm demeanor and quick thinking. "It's time," Patricia said. "The landing zone is prepared." The designated meeting place was a flat plain in neutral Switzerland. Military forces from all major nations surrounded the area at a respectful distance as a shuttle detached from the main Imperial ship and descended through Earth's atmosphere. The craft landed without a sound, its surface rippling like water. The door appeared in its seamless hull, and out stepped the first alien humanity would ever meet face to face. Ambassador Exorlac stood nearly 8 feet tall, with a body resembling a praying mantis but covered in iridescent scales. 4 arms extended from its thorax, while its head housed 3 large, compound eyes that shifted colors as they moved. Gregory stepped forward, hands empty and visible. "On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth." The alien's mandibles clicked rapidly, and a translation device on its chest spoke in perfect English. "The Empire greets Earth. We have observed your world for many cycles and find your species interesting." The initial meeting lasted 3 hours. Exorlac explained the structure of the Galactic Empire. 27 species across 5,000 star systems, united under a central authority. They offered technological gifts, cures for diseases, advanced energy systems, and faster-than-light travel capabilities. "All we ask," Exorlac said, "is that Earth join us as a protectorate world." Later that night, Earth's leaders gathered to discuss the offer. "They're offering us the stars," said the Brazilian president. "But at what cost?" Patricia countered. "Their definition of protectorate seems vague." Gregory Mason tapped his tablet, bringing up the data packet they had received. "I've been reviewing their materials. Most protectorate worlds provide resources to the Empire in exchange for protection and technology. It looks like a fair trade on the surface." An aide entered the room, face pale. "Excuse me, sir, but you need to see this." The aide played a recording they had managed to capture from the Imperial shuttle, an unencrypted communication between Exorlac and the main ship. "The humans are primitive but resourceful," the alien's voice translated. "Their world is rich in heavy metals and water. Once they accept protectorate status, we can begin standard resource extraction. Their resistance capabilities are minimal." Silence filled the room. "So that's it," Patricia said finally. "We're just another mining opportunity." Gregory studied the alien documents again, now with new understanding. Most protectorate planets in their records showed declining populations and increasing resource export over time. They're colonies, not partners. The Indian Prime Minister spoke up. "But what choice do we have? Their ships could destroy our cities from orbit." Patricia stood. "We accept their offer, outwardly. But we start planning now. If they want to colonize us, they'll learn humans don't surrender easily." The next day, Gregory Mason signed the protectorate agreement with the Empire. Ambassador Exorlac seemed pleased, his scales flashing bright colors. "You have made a wise decision," the alien said. "The Empire will elevate humanity." Gregory smiled diplomatically. "We look forward to learning all we can from you." Behind his smile, he was already thinking about the secret meeting scheduled for that night. The formation of what would soon be called the Human Independence Coalition. The Human Independence Coalition met in an old bunker beneath Chicago, shielded from Imperial scanning technology. A dozen people sat around a table made from an old door laid across sawhorses. Scientist Olivia Knight spread blueprints across the makeshift table. "The Empire thinks we're primitive," she said, her voice low despite the soundproofing. "That's our advantage." Daniel Washington, a former Special Forces operative with dark eyes that missed nothing, studied the Imperial technology diagrams they had collected. "They're careless around us, like we're children who can't understand their toys." The meeting was one of hundreds happening globally, while Earth's governments publicly welcomed Imperial advisors into their facilities. Underground networks formed to share information. Imperial ships now orbited Earth, and alien mining operations had begun in remote areas. The aliens treated humans with polite condescension, openly discussing technical matters as if humans couldn't possibly understand. 6 months into the occupation, engineer Frank Nelson made the first breakthrough. Working in an Imperial-supervised factory, he noticed patterns in their propulsion technology that the aliens hadn't bothered to hide. "They use principles similar to our theoretical quantum mechanics," Frank explained at the next coalition meeting. "But I think they've hit a plateau. They've been using the same technology for thousands of years, just refining it slightly." Olivia leaned forward. "You're saying we could improve it?" "I'm saying human creativity sees connections they miss. They follow rules perfected over millennia. We ask why those rules exist in the first place." The coalition began Operation Trojan Horse. Earth's brightest minds worked in Imperial facilities, appearing to learn basic alien technology, while secretly understanding far more. Humans asked naive questions that revealed crucial information. The aliens, believing humans incapable of rapid advancement, shared knowledge carelessly. Daniel established a global network of informants and saboteurs. Minor accidents at Imperial mining sites created delays without raising suspicion. Each incident provided opportunities to collect samples of alien technology. 1 year into the occupation, Earth's public face remained compliant. United Earth Defense, now renamed the Imperial Cooperation Force, worked closely with alien overseers. General Patricia Davis, outwardly supportive of the Empire, passed critical information to the coalition through coded messages. In her laboratory beneath Seattle, Olivia combined human innovation with Imperial science. Their faster-than-light drives work, but they're inefficient. They brute force their way through space-time. Frank, now leading a team of engineers, nodded as he studied her equations. Human mathematics takes a completely different approach. We can create a hybrid system that outperforms anything they have. The Empire continued to extract Earth's resources, oblivious to human progress. Imperial Administrator Genfar, a 6-limbed creature with translucent skin, reported decreasing productivity in Earth's mines. "The humans are inefficient workers," Genfar told Imperial Command. "Their physical limitations and primitive understanding of our equipment slows extraction by 20% compared to standard colonies." The real reason remained hidden. The coalition was diverting resources to secret manufacturing facilities in abandoned subway tunnels and remote mountain ranges. Daniel Washington addressed coalition leaders 2 years after first contact. "We've established 26 hidden facilities worldwide. Imperial oversight focuses on major cities and mining operations. They never venture into areas they consider worthless." Gregory Mason, still serving as Earth's official diplomat, provided updates on Imperial plans. "They're bringing more ships next year. They plan to increase extraction by 50%. Then we accelerate our timeline," Olivia said. "Project Eclipse needs to be ready before those ships arrive." Patricia pulled up a secure satellite image on her tablet. Deep in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, away from Imperial patrols, the outline of massive construction projects was visible. "The Empire believes we're building entertainment vessels for their officers," Patricia said. "They have no idea what we're really doing." Daniel looked at the image, his expression grim but determined. "How long until the ships are ready?" 18 months if we push," Frank replied. "But we need to decide something now." How many people can we save? Hidden among the asteroids between Mars and Jupiter, massive construction facilities worked day and night. Project Director Laura Bennett floated in a viewing chamber, watching as robotic arms assembled huge metal plates into curved hull sections. Status report, she said into her comm device. Her assistant's voice crackled back. Horizon is at 83% completion. Liberty at 77. Pathfinder and Perseverance both holding at 65. Laura nodded, though no one could see her. 4 generation ships, each designed to carry millions of people across the vast emptiness between galaxies. The largest vessels humans had ever built, and they were constructing them in secret, right under the noses of their alien overlords. The Eclipse project had begun as a desperate idea. If Earth could not be free, perhaps some of humanity could escape to start again elsewhere. Now, 3 years after first contact, it had become their greatest hope. On Earth, Imperial mining operations intensified. Vast swaths of land were stripped for minerals. The aliens brought more ships, more equipment. They called it progress. Humans called it destruction. In a secure room beneath what was once the Pentagon, world leaders met with coalition heads to make the hardest decision of all: who would go and who would stay. We can fit 15 million people total across all 4 ships, Laura explained via encrypted video link from the asteroid belt. That's less than 1% of Earth's population. Silence filled the room. Everyone understood the math. Everyone hated it. How do we choose? Asked the Canadian Prime Minister. Gregory Mason, still serving as Earth's official diplomat to the Empire, spoke carefully. We need a genetic cross-section of humanity. Scientists, engineers, farmers, teachers, people with skills to build a new civilization. And we need fighters, added Daniel Washington. People who can defend our new home if the Empire ever finds us. They created a selection algorithm. Each nation would choose candidates based on skills, genetic diversity, and age. No one country would dominate the manifest. The process would take months, all conducted in absolute secrecy. Meanwhile, Imperial Administrator Genthar grew suspicious of decreased productivity in Earth's African mines. The extraction rates have fallen 15% in the last quarter. Genthar said to his assistant, humans are becoming more resistant to our authority. Should we increase security forces? The assistant asked. Zenthar's translucent skin rippled in what humans had learned was a gesture of dismissal. No, their primitive weapons pose no threat. This is mere inefficiency, perhaps even laziness. Increase work quotas and reduce food rations until productivity improves. The aliens never considered that the missing resources were being secretly transported to the asteroid belt, fueling humanity's greatest project. Frank Nelson and his engineering team worked tirelessly on the hybrid propulsion system for the generation ships, based on Imperial technology, but dramatically improved by human innovation. These engines could achieve speeds the Empire believed impossible. The beauty of it, Frank explained to Laura during a rare break, is that they've never needed to think outside their established principles. Their technology works well enough that they stopped looking for better solutions centuries ago. And we haven't, Laura said. Frank smiled. We've had to fight for every advancement. That makes us see possibilities they miss. The selection process moved forward. Families received coded messages, instructing them to prepare without revealing why. Essential supplies were quietly stockpiled. The coalition created cover stories for millions of people who would somehow need to disappear when the time came. In her private quarters on the construction station, Laura reviewed the latest schedule projections. The ships would be ready in 6 months. After that, they would need another 3 months to load supplies and passengers. Her comm device chimed with an emergency signal. Director Bennett, we have a problem, said the security chief. Imperial drone activity has increased in Sector 7. They're expanding their asteroid mining operations closer to our position. Laura felt her heart rate spike. How close? If they maintain their current trajectory, they'll be within visual range of Pathfinder in 14 days. Laura closed her eyes briefly. Inform Earth Command. We may need to accelerate our timeline. The greatest escape in human history might need to begin sooner than planned, ready or not. Imperial spy drones discovered the human construction project 3 days later. The sleek, insect-like machines transmitted images back to the Imperial command ship before the human security teams could destroy them. In his command chamber, Genfar watched the footage with growing rage. "What are these structures?" he demanded of his analysts. "They appear to be large spacecraft," replied a junior officer. "Far larger than humans should be capable of building with their limited technology." Zenthar's skin changed from its usual pale blue to an angry red. How did they accomplish this? Why were we not informed? No one had an answer. The Empire had never considered humans capable of such rapid technological advancement. They had severely underestimated the species they had come to exploit. "Prepare a strike force," Genfar ordered. "Destroy these vessels before they can be completed." On Earth, in the Coalition's Central Command, alarms blared as communications from the asteroid belt came through. They'd found the ships. Patricia Davis told the emergency gathering of world leaders. "The Empire is sending destroyers to eliminate them." Gregory Mason paled. "How long do we have?" "Less than 12 hours. The ships aren't ready for launch." Daniel Washington stood. "Then we fight. It's time to unveil our other secret." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in underwater hangars built over the past 3 years, Earth's secretly constructed defense fleet waited. 100 ships, built with a combination of Imperial technology and human innovation. Smaller than Imperial vessels, but faster and more maneuverable. "Launch all vessels," Patricia ordered. "Admiral Victor Rodriguez, you have command of the fleet." Victor, a veteran naval officer who had trained thousands of pilots in secret, gave a crisp salute. "We'll give the colony ships the time they need." The human defense fleet erupted from oceans worldwide, taking the Imperial forces completely by surprise. The aliens had no idea humans had built combat vessels. The battle for Earth's orbit began with a ferocity that shocked the Imperial commanders. In the asteroid belt, Laura Bennett received the news with grim determination. "We're accelerating our timeline," she announced to all construction teams. "Begin immediate evacuation procedures. Load all essential personnel and supplies. We launch in 6 hours, ready or not." Teams worked frantically to prepare the ships. The Horizon and Liberty were nearly complete and could launch safely. The Pathfinder and Perseverance required emergency modifications to make them space-worthy. Frank Nelson oversaw the final installation of the hybrid drives on all 4 vessels. "The navigation systems aren't fully calibrated," he warned Laura. "We'll need to make adjustments in flight." "We don't have a choice," she replied. "It's now or never." The 15 million selected passengers had been training for months. Many were already in stasis pods on the ships. Others were being transported from Earth in small shuttles, using the battle above as cover for their movements. On his command ship, Genfar watched in disbelief as human vessels damaged or destroyed his fighters. His analysts worked frantically to understand human weapons capabilities. "Impossible," he muttered as another Imperial vessel exploded. "They were primitive just 3 years ago." His communications officer interrupted. "Commander, energy signatures detected in the asteroid belt. The human vessels are powering up. Direct all forces to those coordinates." Far commanded. Nothing must escape. But it was too late. The Horizon, largest of the colony ships, activated its revolutionary dry system. The massive vessel began to move, slowly at first, then with increasing speed as it cleared the construction dock. The Liberty followed 1 hour later. Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through Patricia's secure channel. "We've lost 37 ships, but we've damaged their fleet significantly. The Horizon and Liberty are away. Pathfinder and Perseverance need another hour." Patricia nodded grimly. "Hold the line, Admiral. Whatever it takes." On the Horizon's bridge, Captain Lisa Carter watched as Earth grew smaller on the view screen. Behind her, 5 million humans began their journey to a new home. The ship accelerated faster than any Imperial vessel could match, their hybrid drive glowing with energy as it carried humanity away from its captors. In his chamber, Genfar slammed his fist on the console as alarms blared. Begin orbital bombardment of Earth. They will pay for this betrayal. The Empire had just discovered how dangerous it was to underestimate human determination. Fleet Commander Grizik stood on the bridge of the Imperial flagship Dominance, his 4 eyes fixed on the tactical display. The human vessels were moving away from the solar system at speeds that should have been impossible for such a primitive species. How are they maintaining that velocity? He demanded of his science officer. Unknown, Commander. Their drive signatures contain elements of our technology, but there are modifications we don't recognize. Grizik slammed his clawed hand on the console. I want those ships. The Emperor himself has ordered that we make an example of these rebels. The Dominance and 5 other warships broke away from the Earth assault to pursue the escaping human vessels. Behind them, the bombardment of Earth continued, targeting military installations and government centers. The Empire wanted to crush the human spirit without destroying a valuable resource planet. In the cold darkness of the Oort cloud at the edge of the solar system, the 4 human ships regrouped. The Pathfinder had sustained damage during its hasty launch, with hull breaches on its lower decks. Emergency teams worked to repair it while the fleet maintained its course outward. On the Horizon's bridge, Captain Lisa Carter received reports from the other vessels. Liberty reports all systems nominal. Perseverance is at 90% capacity. Pathfinder has sealed the hull breaches, but their secondary drive is offline. Lisa nodded. We need to increase our speed. Imperial pursuers detected on long-range scanners. Communications specialist Nicole Barrett looked up from her station. Captain, I've been studying their transmission patterns. I think I can disrupt their navigation systems. Do it, Lisa ordered. Buy us whatever time you can. Nicole's fingers flew across her console, sending carefully crafted interference signals toward the Imperial fleet. Her years working with Imperial communications technology as an assistant to alien officers had taught her their vulnerabilities. In the Pathfinder's engineering section, Frank Nelson worked frantically to repair the damaged drive systems. The ship shuddered around him as it pushed itself to keep pace with its sisters. Reroute power from decks 12 through 15, he ordered his team. We can run on emergency life support in those sections temporarily. The Pathfinder's captain spoke through the comm system. Frank, Imperial ships closing. Can we go any faster? I'm giving you everything we've got. Frank replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. Any more strain, and we risk a complete drive failure. On Earth, the situation grew desperate. Imperial forces had established control over major cities, but fierce resistance continued in rural areas and mountains. Patricia Davis, now leading the underground resistance from a hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains, received encrypted communications from Admiral Rodriguez's remaining ships. We've lost 64 vessels, Rodriguez reported, his face grim on the secure video feed. But we're still fighting. Earth will never surrender. Back in the darkness of deep space, Nicole Barrett's disruption worked better than expected. 2 Imperial pursuers veered off course, their navigation systems sending them in the wrong direction. The remaining 4 continued the chase, closing the gap hour by hour. On the Dominance, Commander Grizik watched with growing frustration as the distance to the human ships remained stubbornly constant. They shouldn't be able to maintain this speed, he hissed. These are not the same humans we encountered 3 years ago. His tactical officer approached cautiously. Commander, we've analyzed their trajectory. They appear to be heading toward the Andromeda galaxy. Andromeda? That's over 2 million light-years away. Yes, Commander. At their current velocity, the journey would take approximately 300 years. Grizik's scales rippled with surprise. They're fleeing beyond the Empire's reach. These humans would rather spend generations in space than live under our rule. For the first time, doubt crept into the Imperial commander's mind. The Empire had conquered hundreds of species across the galaxy, but none had ever chosen to abandon their homeworld entirely. None had fought so fiercely or adapted so quickly. On the horizon, Lisa Carter watched as the distance between her ship and the Imperial pursuers slowly increased. Nichols' disruptions and the superior speed of the hybrid drives were working. "We're going to make it," Lisa said softly. Behind her, in vast chambers throughout the massive vessel, families huddled together, watching the stars streak by outside their viewports. They had left Earth behind, perhaps forever. Ahead lay uncertainty, hardship, and a journey spanning generations. But also freedom. The human Exodus fleet reached the edge of Imperial sensor range 2 weeks after their escape. The pursuit had gradually fallen behind as the ships pushed their hybrid drives to speeds no Imperial vessel could match. On the Dominance, Fleet Commander Grizik received disturbing reports from his science team. "Explain this again," he ordered, staring at the data on his screen. The chief scientist, a spindly being with 6 limbs and compound eyes, gestured at the readings. "The human vessels have achieved speeds we thought were theoretical impossibilities. Our equations suggest their drive systems should tear themselves apart at such velocities. Yet they continue to function," Grizik said. "Yes, Commander. They've not only copied our technology, they've improved it significantly." This information was transmitted back to the Imperial capital, where it caused considerable alarm. The Emperor himself, a being of pure energy called Vexthor, who had ruled for over 5,000 years, called an emergency meeting of the High Council. How could a primitive species advance so rapidly? Vexthor's voice resonated through the chamber. 3 years ago, they had barely achieved basic spaceflight. The Council's chief scientist displayed holographic models of the human drive systems based on long-range scans. "We believe humans possess unique cognitive abilities. Their brains form connections our species cannot." "Explain," the Emperor demanded. "Most intelligent species follow logical, sequential thought patterns. Humans demonstrate what they call lateral thinking, making unexpected connections between seemingly unrelated concepts. This allows them to see possibilities we miss." The council chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. In the thousands of years of Imperial expansion, they had never encountered a species with this particular form of intelligence. They had classified humans as merely another resource world, never suspecting the creative potential hidden within these seemingly primitive beings. "The data suggests," continued the scientist, "that if left unchecked, human technological advancement could surpass our own within a century." On the horizon, Captain Lisa Carter received a full damage report from all 4 ships. The Pathfinder had suffered the most, with its life support systems operating at 80% capacity. The Liberty and Perseverance were functioning normally. The Horizon, as the fleet's flagship, maintained communication between all vessels. Engineer Sam Wilson, who had worked alongside Frank Nelson to perfect the hybrid drives, approached Lisa on the bridge. "Captain, I've been analyzing our performance data. The drives are exceeding even our most optimistic projections. At this rate, we could reach Andromeda in 250 years instead of 300. Lisa nodded, but her expression remained solemn. "And Earth? Any communications?" "Sporadic," Sam replied. "The resistance continues. Our people are fighting back across every continent. The Empire expected submission after the bombardment. They didn't get it." Patricia Davis, leading Earth's resistance from hidden bunkers, sent encrypted messages to the fleeing ships whenever possible. The latest transmission included images of Imperial forces facing guerrilla attacks in cities worldwide. The aliens had expected to crush human resistance quickly, but instead found themselves in an unwinnable war against a population that would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Back in Imperial space, the Emperor made an unprecedented decision. For the first time in the Empire's history, they would attempt genuine diplomacy with the species they had tried to subjugate. Special envoys were dispatched to Earth with offers of true partnership instead of exploitation. It was too late. Trust, once broken, could not be easily repaired. The human resistance rejected all offers, responding only with increased attacks on Imperial positions. In his private chamber, Vexthor reviewed recordings of the departing human ships. The Emperor had lived for millennia, conquered hundreds of worlds, and seen countless civilizations rise and fall. Yet something about these humans disturbed him deeply. They chose to leave, he said to his most trusted advisor. Not just a few rebels, millions of them. They chose an uncertain future in the void over life under our rule. The advisor nodded. The reports from Earth suggest the humans who remained would rather die than submit. I have lived for 5,000 years, Vexthor said, his energy form pulsing with troubled light. And I have never seen such determination. We may have made a grave mistake with this species. The human Exodus ships activated their final stage drives as they passed beyond the edge of the solar system. On the Horizon's observation deck, Captain Kevin Russell stood alone, watching the stars through the massive viewport. Behind him, the ship hummed with life. 15,000 humans beginning their long journey to a new home, beyond the reach of the empire that had tried to enslave them. "System check complete, Captain," said the bridge officer through his comm device. "All sections report ready for deep space mode." Kevin took one last look at the distant sun that had nurtured humanity since its beginning. "Engage final stage drives," he ordered. "Set course for Andromeda." The Horizon's revolutionary engines flared with brilliant blue energy. Space itself seemed to bend around the massive vessel as it accelerated to speeds no Imperial ship could match. The Liberty, Perseverance, and Pathfinder followed in formation, their drives creating a spectacular light show in the void, visible only to the Imperial sensors tracking their departure. In the Imperial capital, the High Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from all 27 species gathered to discuss the human situation. The Emperor himself attended, his energy form pulsing with concern. "The humans continue to resist on Earth," reported the military commander. "Our forces control the major cities, but face constant attacks from guerrilla fighters. Meanwhile, the escaped vessels have now exceeded our fastest pursuit ships by a factor of 3. High Counselor Zar Toth, one of the oldest and wisest members of the Empire, stood to address the gathering. "We have made a grave miscalculation," he said, his voice heavy with realization. "In treating humans as mere resources, we created something we have never faced before, an enemy with nothing to lose and the creativity to defeat us." He activated a holographic display showing the trajectory of the human ships. "They will reach Andromeda in approximately 250 years. By then, given their rate of technological advancement, they may develop capabilities far beyond our own. We could send colony ships to intercept them," suggested another counselor. "To what end?" Zar Toth asked. "To continue a conflict across millions of light years. To spread our mistake to another galaxy." The Emperor's voice resonated through the chamber. "I have ruled for 5 millennia, and never has a species chosen to abandon their homeworld rather than accept our authority. It speaks to a determination we did not anticipate." On Earth, the resistance continued. Patricia Davis, her hair now gray from years of underground warfare, received news that Imperial forces had begun withdrawing from certain regions. The Empire had realized that controlling humans was far more costly than they had anticipated. Greg Mason, still serving as the official liaison between Earth and the Empire, met with Imperial representatives under a flag of truce. The aliens offered a new arrangement, genuine partnership instead of exploitation, with fair compensation for resources and shared technological development. "You misunderstand us," Greg told them calmly. "This isn't about better terms. This is about freedom. You came as conquerors. We will never trust you again." The Imperial representative's translator conveyed his confusion. "But we are offering you everything you wanted." "What we wanted," Greg replied, "was to be treated as equals from the beginning. It is too late to repair what you have broken. In deep space, the 4 human ships moved farther from Earth with each passing second. Inside them, children were born who would never see their ancestral home. Schools taught the history of Earth and the empire that had forced their exodus. Hydroponics bays grew food. Communities formed. Life continued. On the Horizon's main deck, engineer Sam Wilson showed Kevin Russell the latest modifications to the propulsion system. "We've increased efficiency by another 4%, he explained. "We might reach Andromeda in 230 years instead of 250. Kevin nodded, studying the star charts that showed their path forward. "Do you think they'll follow us?" "The Empire." Sam shook his head. "They can't match our speed. And I don't think they want to. I think we scared them." Kevin smiled slightly. "Good. When we reach Andromeda, we'll build something new. Something better. And if the Empire ever finds us again, they'll discover a humanity they can't imagine." Sam finished. "One that had centuries to develop without their interference." The stars streaked by outside as the ships carried humanity toward its new beginning, far from the empire that had learned, too late, the cost of underestimating the human spirit.